My name is James Cameron. I'm the founder and chairman of a business called Climate Change Capital. We're a specialist investment house, asset manager and advisor. We have about $1.5 billion under management, and we are doing all the things you'd expect with a name like Climate Change Capital. We're deploying capital into projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, investments in technology through a private equity fund, and investments in property, green buildings. We're now owned by a very large agribusiness, Bunge, with a huge presence and a growing interest in investing in Africa. And between us, we're now very focused on the energy, water, and food nexus, where we see huge prospects for investment in Africa. I also sit on the UK Prime Minister's Business Advisory Group, and one of the things we're trying to do there is to position British business to be effective investors in Africa. So I have a couple of points by introduction and some specifics. I'm very interested in how one can make the whole infrastructure investment thesis, which is very strong, you've heard lots of speeches on that here and elsewhere, properly sustainable. So this involves a bit of lateral thinking. So if you've got an investment proposition for rolling out broadband, you should be thinking about how to combine that with demand-side management for energy. If you're thinking about building infrastructure for power, think about it not in traditional terms of fixed point sources, going out and ever-increasing expense into new grids, but building an infrastructure for sustainable energy, for distributed power, much in the way Candy Keller was talking about earlier. And when it comes to agriculture, again, think about valuing the underlying resources. Where's the water going to come from? How's the soil quality? Is it possible to combine agricultural production with energy production, power production? So, I'm involved with an investment in personal investment, not a company investment, in Tanzania, an agriculture investment in rice. It's a 5,000 hectare farm. We think there is tremendous potential in using foreign investment combined with the smallholder engagement to produce good long-term sustainable returns, and you have to be patient, it doesn't come very quickly, in the provision of basic agricultural services to domestic users, to domestic markets. So that's a business called Agrica. It has public money involved as well through USAID and NORAID, but most of the risk has been absorbed by private investors, and the bridge has been Capricorn, the eBay money impact investing. So we think that is an emblematic investment in agricultural, in the agricultural economy of Africa, where there's a capacity to take agricultural waste, turn it into energy, and we see that as being replicable in other parts of the country and the continent. The other area where we think there's tremendous opportunity for large-scale capital deployment is in distributed power. We see this principally in combining the, if you like, the feedstock from the agricultural economy with the need for distributed power in much larger quantities where grids either don't exist or they're in poor shape, so you have to create local grids. We particularly like the idea of displacing diesel. So wherever you can displace diesel, whether it's at a mine mouth or on in a rural property where you're shipping diesel or moving diesel very long distances at very high cost, in all those circumstances, there are good economic conditions available for investment, but of course it needs to be aggregated for it to be at scale, and that's why we think we have to build fund structures that are capable of deploying capital over the longer term. This probably needs a combination of patient capital and private equity style money. And we're looking to build infrastructure, a structure that facilitates that kind of deployment. So if you put these two things together, agricultural investment for the sake of domestic markets, particularly in basic foodstuffs, and desperate need for power investment, see the synergies between the two, we think that provides a very attractive investment case for investment in Africa.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.